Hello everyone, welcome to the channel of Political Science Tutorials. In this video, we will try to understand UN's peacemaking activities and how much this global organization is successful to protect or to uphold human rights. The term human rights is a widely used term and also a challenge to an authority from a local level to global level. As the topic is about the role of UN in peacemaking, so first we will try to understand what is UN or United Nations Organization is about. What are the differences between peacekeeping and peacemaking? This is very important to understand our topic, and what is meant by human rights. Then it will be easy for us to understand the role of United Nations through the process of peacemaking, upholding the human rights. UN was formally established on 24th October 1945. In the initial stage, the number of member states were 51. It was established after the end of Second World War. Why it was established? It was established to maintain peace in the world and avoid the wars which are devastating for humankind. Presently, the number of member states are 193. What were the main purposes of the establishment of United Nations? Its main aim was to maintain international peace and security, a friendly relation among nations, and international cooperation and attainment the goal of common benefit by their cooperative actions, or you can say the action which will serve common purposes. Now our second point is, what is human rights? What things human rights include? Human rights include first moral principles, which indicates good principles of not to harm others, whether as an individual or a community or as a nation. So it is a sense of being a good human or community or nation. Second, it is inalienable, means no one can take away it from us. From the time of his or her birth, every individual are entitled to enjoy human rights. Third, it is universal. Irrespective of race, color, religion, sex, rich, poor, everyone has the right to live on this earth with basic amenities also, which everyone needs to lead a respectful life. Fourth, egalitarian society. What is an egalitarian society? Where all people will be treated equally. So the distribution of resources and values of society should be distributed justifiably, that each can get their fair share. Fifth, rule of law, or in the eyes of law, every individual is equal. Law cannot discriminate people on the basis of race, religion, sex, etc. Formally, United Declaration of Human Rights was adopted on 10th December 1948. This declaration suggests that these human rights are inherent to all human beings regardless of race, sex, nationality, ethnicity, language, religion or any other status. As a global organization, UN has an important role to uphold or protect these human rights. For this reason, UN from the time of its inception took initiatives to establish a peaceful environment for the humankind and a war-free world. It is true that there are some failure and criticism about the role of UNs in upholding human rights, but it cannot be ignored that in some fields of humanitarian cases it played a positive role. To understand UN's roles to protect human rights, we have to discuss about UN's roles of peacekeeping and peacemaking. Though both processes are to establish peace, but there are some differences, and we will try to understand the difference between these two processes. Let's start with peacekeeping process. Process of peacekeeping is to create conditions for lasting peace in post-war situation. We know that peacekeeping forces are deployed in many countries, but what peacekeeping force or troop do? Peacekeepers provide security and political support and peace building support. In the chapter 7 of UN Charter, it authorized Security Council to take collective action in every peacekeeping mission. But Security Council cannot do it with its own will. There are some conditions. What are these conditions? First, it need consent of the concerned countries, or UN cannot send force without the permission of that particular country. Second, troops will work neutrally and can use force only in the case of self-defense. And third, there will be a written documentation of conditions of any peacekeeping mission between UN and concerned countries. Now we will see that when the UN troops were first used. First international armed forces were used in 1948 in Kashmir and Palestine, and then it was not called as peacekeeping force. The practice known as peacekeeping was formally used during Suez Crisis in 1956. Our next point is peacemaking. There are some basic differences between peacekeeping and peacemaking. Basically, peacemaking are diplomatic actions by United Nations to negotiate with the conflicting states, and UN Secretary General can use his or her good office and can take initiative to resolve the conflicts. So, in peacemaking, there is an involvement of General Assembly headed by Secretary General, but peacekeeping mission is conducted by the decision of Security Council. It is a basic difference between peacekeeping and peacemaking. Peacemaking can be said is a combination of 4 C's. Those are contact or get in touch with conflicting powers by UN office. Second, cooperation or cooperation among conflicting nations with UN to resolve the conflicts. Third, communication means the open discussion with all parties and UN. And fourth, conciliation or an attempt of settlement with which every conflicting nation will agree. But the point is that only peacemaking process is not sufficient to resolve violent conflicts. So, it needs peacekeeping force. Peacekeeping force include soldiers, which is effective in short term, and also need a peace building process for long lasting peace. So, these all 3 processes need to continue at the same time: peacekeeping, peacemaking and peace building. The peacekeeping operation can be considered in 2 phases. First, from 1948 to 1988. Second, from 1988 to present. Peacekeeping missions were led by United Nations with the troop of neutral countries during the first phase, or from 1948 to 1988. Soldiers were not included from the countries who were the permanent members of Security Council. But after 1988, the peacekeeping mission was to stop conflicts. Whether before 1988 it was deployed after ceasefire. It is called also second generation peacekeeping, which also gave importance on peacemaking, and it includes multiple political and social objectives. This started to ensure an environment in which the people will live without worries or they will feel safe. So these were the initiatives to stop war. In international politics, conflict not only arises among states, it also happens within a country, and it may also create humanitarian crises which need a prompt attention. Eventually, UN realized that not only war or violence causes the distress of humankind, but these are additional causes like poverty, lack of education, improper health service, authoritarian regime, female subjugation, degradation of environment, etc. also are disturbing causes. United Nations realized that to protect human rights, these points should be taken seriously. For that reason, after the end of Cold War era, UN added many other activities in its list. The Cold War era was the era of tussle of power between two superpowers, USA and USSR. But during the post-Cold War era, UN was facing another set of crises, such as collapsed state structures in Soviet Union, Yugoslavia and other places, which causes humanitarian tragedies like starvation, large-scale fighting and slaughter between rival ethnic and bandit groups, refugee settlement problem, etc. All we know that the conflict in international politics and conflict within the states are continuing here and there regularly. It is not possible to mention all those, but with some examples we will try to understand the role of UN in changing scenario. Second generation peacekeeping missions undertaken the long drawn conflict which was continuing from 1953 in Cambodia. Cambodia was occupied by Vietnam. In 1991, Paris Peace Agreement was signed and UN peacekeeping forces were deployed in Cambodia. 7 major issues were concerned, and those are security, observation, monitoring, education, development and refugees. Under the UN's observation, free and fair elections were held and the new government was created, joining 3 major parties that had influence on the national security and stability. Another example is the crisis in Yugoslavia during 1990s. It was severe and the process of making independent states ethnic cleansing was going on. In 1992, UN Security Council imposed international sanctions. Before that, in November 1991, UN Security Council unanimously adopted a resolution which paved the way for establishment of UN Protection Force. In 1993, UN had declared the Drina Valley of northeastern Bosnia a safe area. In 1995, NATO intervened and a peace treaty was signed. UN took initiative that the sale of arms in this region will be limited. Thus, UN helped to minimize the loss in warring countries. Another case of Somalia during 1990 to 92. Somalia became a failed state due to its power vacuum. UN operation in Somalia provided humanitarian relief and helped to restore order. UN intervention established ceasefire and assured all necessary means to guarantee the delivery of humanitarian aid. We can say that thus UN added new strategies to protect human rights in addition to traditional peacekeeping and preventive diplomacy. Former UN Secretary General Boutros Boutros-Ghali described these additional functions in his reports, An Agenda for Peace in 1992 and Supplement to an Agenda for Peace in 1995. UN initiates its peacemaking mission in different countries with its newly adapted strategies. In many countries, UN supervised election to prevent civil order. For example, in the country like Nicaragua, Eritrea, Cambodia and Afghanistan, etc. United Nations encouraged peace negotiations in El Salvador, Angola and Western Sahara, distributed food in Somalia for humanitarian reason. Already we have discussed about Yugoslavia, where United Nations took initiative to reduce the conflict, and also UN troops helped in refugee settlement when Yugoslavia was going through a war crisis. To provide administrative and technical support for political and humanitarian mission, United Nations created the Department of Peacekeeping Operations in 1992. Thus, UN initiated a process to solve not only of war but poverty, refugee settlement, electoral crisis, education, etc. The crisis in the decade of 1990 was so severe that at the end of 1990s, approximately 20 million people had been forced to migrate or had fled oppression, violence and starvation. The UNHCR works in more than 120 countries and cooperates with more than 450 NGOs to provide relief and to aid in resettlement. The United Nations is concerned with issues of human rights, including the rights of women and children, refugee settlement and narcotics control. Some of its greatest successes have been in the area of improving the health and welfare of the world's population. Though UN efforts are to peacekeeping, peacemaking and peace building are still going on, but in many areas its efforts has been failed. For example, though UN troops tried to stop Rwandan genocide in 1994, but it failed to save the life of nearly 1 million members of Tutsi minority who were slaughtered by Hutus community. In early 2005, UN troops were accused of rape in the Republic of Congo, and similar allegations were from Cambodia, Haiti and other countries. UN peacekeeping was also unsuccessful in 2011, which was deployed during crisis in South Sudan. They were failed to protect civilians from death, torture or rape in South Sudan. There are so many cases of UN's failure, but it does not mean UN is totally failed to protect human rights. As human rights include the right to live, health, food, education, clean environment and a safe world, UN's Sustainable Development Program and other humanitarian program is helping people globally from the time of its inception. Hope this discussion is clear to you. We'll come back with new topic. Take care.